what I'm praying for already. Yeah.
See what
Yeah.
God has always made a way, my
1,
friend,
2, 3, 4, 5,
through
6,
every
7, 8,
storm
10.
and through every circumstance. And He's still making a way today. A roadway in the wilderness and a river in the desert. To those who have lost hope, be encouraged. Christ, the hope of glory, is in you.
Sign up for YouTube Premium, which includes YouTube Music Premium, and get ad-free videos and music.
And God is bigger than any struggle or storm that you're facing. He can calm the storm in your marriage. He can calm the storm in your business. He can calm the storm of disease that may be raging.
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Honorable, Eli
Now,
is not here yet.
okay.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna swap you. We have other guests that are here,
Okay.
so you come on the next segment.
How many minutes are we spending?
Half an hour.
Half an hour.
Yeah.
You think I can talk for 24 hours? Or?
Oh, I know you can, but you know.
I be like they run because don't see my picture for the thing. They run.
Not at all.
He's running at the boy. Hey, say, this man. Say now this man won't face. This man he go pieces article like this.
Talk Africa.
Hello and welcome to Talk Africa with me, Jones. Well, Happy New Year, by the way. Hope you had a fantastic break. You enjoyed Christmas, and hopefully this New Year things will go ahead as you've planned. Now, there's plenty to discuss today. On the 25th of February 2023, Nigerians will go to the polls to elect a new president. Today, we're talking about the Nigerian election, the 2023 election that is. We have representatives here in the UK joining us to discuss the issue. We tried reaching out to the Labour Party, but unfortunately, we couldn't get their reps. But this is just a start. So we'll have representatives from the APC and also the PDP joining us later on the show. But now, before we proceed any further, a bit of housekeeping. Okay, we're streaming live on Facebook. You can go on to Talk Africa page and watch the show, or on YouTube as well. Plus my Channel 7 page on Facebook. And of course, if you're watching us on TV, it is Sky Channel 181. We also got you covered on radio. It's GN Radio. How can you listen? www.gnradiouk.com. Or just download the TuneIn app and just type in GN Radio and listen to us. Alternatively, you can download the Channel 7 app and take us along with you. Okay? All right. Enough about that. Now let's proceed with our discussion here today. If you've been following this show, we've spoken in the past about the government's plan to curtail immigration. It looks as if the Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, is not ending. She's not stopping. She's on a mission, as she said, to use her own words. She would love to see a big front page on the Daily, is it the Times, she said, that she's been able to send migrants to Rwanda. Now, her new policy, which is the government's policy, they're considering raising the threshold for British citizens applying for a family visa. But we're asking, if the government designs the policy, has it always got to be looked at as being racist to immigrants? Let's hear your take. You can leave your comments on our Facebook page or the YouTube page, and I will read them out. And joining us today to discuss this issue is Abu Shaw, editor of theorganizer.net. Thank you very much for joining us, Abu Shaw. Yeah. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Thank you for having me.
And of course, this man needs no introduction, but I'll introduce him anyway. Julius Maluto. We're also editor of Informer East Africa. Thank you very much for coming on here.
Happy New
Year to you too. Let me come to you first, Abu Shaw, simply because you are a member of the Conservative Party. Let me get your take on this, because it is the Conservative Party is coming up with this policy.
Yes, it's very true that immigration is one of the most important topic, for the policy for this government, and the Tories feel that if they fail in immigration, in taking control of their borders, then it will be a big problem, in the next election. So the Home Secretary has taken this thing very seriously, and she's really determined to make sure they control the borders. Because at the moment things are out of control. And those who voted for Brexit, that's one of their main ambition, to make sure the government control the people who are coming in. To make sure at least there is some amount of immigration, the immigration in particular, is put under control. So it's not a surprise that the government is taking this action, despite all the criticisms from the opposition, and the remainers, of course.
Well, according to reports, the Home Secretary, they're trying to increase the minimum salaries for companies, also trying to employ skilled workers here into the country. But let me come back to my main point of discussion, the question we're asking: can the government design a policy without it being discussed or described as being racist or anti-immigrants?
It's ironical that you see home secretaries with a great passion for immigration. And I will never forget the time I saw your party member, Michael Howard, when he was a home secretary, being so passionate about immigration issues. But in the end, it turned out he was not actually your typical British, what you classify as British. So when we talk about immigration, we have to always reflect back, and also the narrative that has been hitting reins. Now I find out there was an emperor way back in the UK who was actually black and all that.
So when the Roman Empire, right?
Yes. Yeah. So when you look into who was where, it goes way back since time immemorial. But when you look at if we are going to capture and begin to go with sentiments and target people because of their origin, sometimes it can be so misplaced. Your wonderful Boris Johnson, the former prime minister, he's got links in Turkey. So you can check everybody and you realize also the prince had links, the Prince Philip, the husband of the Queen, had links in Germany. So you can go since time immemorial and you find no one is where they claim to be. When you talk about natives of any particular country, you will be shocked to find out how many people can claim that to be the case. That being the case, we just need to be very fair and understand when we talk about immigration, it's a mixture of different groups of people. I'm not talking about illegal immigrants, which is the target.
Yeah.
I'm talking about perhaps refugees, people who are fleeing for their lives because their countries are either at war or maybe they are persecuted groups of people for fleeing to save their lives. So we cannot just mix people together and say, let's control immigration as if it's just one thing and all. With the case of illegal immigration, I don't support illegal immigration. And also I'm like that has to be dealt with. But how do you deal with it? See, the thing is that when you talk about you're going to deport people back where they came from, why not deport them to their country? Why Rwanda? Why Africa? Just imagine you're a racist European and you're deported in Africa.
Well, about this legal and illegal, the government is not actually saying they will deport everybody. You know, they are more concerned about the illegal immigrants and they are more concerned about the smugglers, you know, who are making millions out of the misery of this migrant, you know, desperate migrants who are coming, you know. And me personally, I support those who are fleeing persecution, because that's what the United Nations in 1951 UN Convention stipulated, that anyone who is fleeing persecution should be given asylum, you know, in the safest country, you know, he or she arrives. You know, but the way things are going on at the channels, you know, there are a lot of illegal migrants whom they call economic migrants who are coming, you know, and these are the people who are demeaning the meaning of the real meaning of those who are running from persecution, you know. So the government need to step in, because you can't just have a country where everybody just come in and out. You don't know their intention.
Yeah.
So that is you know, the main problem, you know, why this government is trying to stamp the authority in controlling migration.
And let me ask you for the government sending people to Rwanda to control this issue?
Well, Rwanda, is it because Rwanda is an African country? That's why people are crying. You know, if it was like another European country, people will not make too much fuss about this thing. So, you know, there's some amount of racism in this. They think Africa is not good for migrants. It's not true. In Rwanda is one of the most developed countries in the world, far more developed than many in European countries, you know. So let's forget about this human rights business that they are associated with Rwanda. If you go to Rwanda and see the way President Paul Kagame is, you know, concentrating on economic growth, you will know that they are on the right track.
But why?
But
Yeah.
because it is an African country, taking refugees from Europe to Africa. That's why I think people are trying to say, why should it be?
Can I say something?
In Rwanda?
Yeah.
I think Rwanda is a good place to.
When you look into why the UK is deporting illegal immigrants, look at it, illegal immigrants.
Where's the illegal there?
When you talk about illegality, those are undesirable people. They are there, like in terms of categories, like way back in the history of the UK when they sent their own citizens who were prisoners away from the country. Do you understand? The narrative, the ideology behind it is totally wrong and misplaced. It's because you are telling us any country that finds what they classify as illegal people, they could be a bunch of criminals. That's what they are talking about. Now they are like, okay, send them to Africa. Africa doesn't want criminals. Africa doesn't want illegal people who have been illegally somewhere else. But Africa can accommodate refugees, which is totally different. But illegality, the element in it, throws the debate in a different category.
I disagree with that adjective. They are saying illegal. That's not what
they are illegal immigrants.
No, they are saying they will send them to Rwanda to look into their cases, their asylum cases. They don't take them as illegal. The government has never said they are going to send them there because they are illegal.
But initially, the government came out and said they're taking them to Rwanda to process the documents.
Yes.
But then we found out that they were actually not coming back. They were staying there.
Well,
to integrate them in society in Rwanda.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong for them to have the same facilities in Rwanda, because there are people in Rwanda who are far better than people in the UK or in Europe. So
can Rwanda deport some Europeans back to UK?
Well, if they want, it's their own government. It's an independent government. So if they want, they can do that. But if you look at the situation right now here, even myself, I came as I know most of us. I don't know, people like you born here or somewhere. But me, I came. I came as a persecuted in the refugee from Sierra Leone. In '99. After spending 10 months in prison for nothing, just because I a critical journalist. So came here, the government looked into my case and they found out that I've been persecuted. I'm a real asylum seeker. So they gave me my paper and luckily I brought my family. But during that time,
supposing they deported to a country in Africa.
No, they will not do that because my case was very clear. There's a lot of evidence.
I just want to come in here. Are we being disingenuous, Julius? Because to the government and to the country as a whole, because let's not, we cannot overlook the fact that the government or this country have accommodated a lot of people who are fleeing persecution. Like, I'm sure.
Before, but now the game is changing. That's why they're deporting people to Rwanda. Why deport people to Africa? Why not deport them to the country they came from? Yeah, look at it. Latest statistics show 2022, slightly over 40,000 people cross the border. But that being the case, a third of those people are from Albania. Yeah? Why do you want to deport maybe people who came from Albania to Rwanda? That's what I'm saying. When you look into human rights, people who are extremely racist, they can't stand surviving in an African country, can they?
Don't understand. But then recently, the court ruled that the government's policy to send refugees, illegal immigrants to Rwanda was in line with the Geneva Convention.
I don't think it is the case because even if that be the case, because ruling to support the government stance is one thing, but the practicalities involved is different. Because you came to a country, maybe you could call it, look at what happens at the border. Someone may be fleeing persecution. They may jump on that boat to pay to leave. When they land in the UK now, because they didn't come normally, they are classified as illegal. Actually, they are not illegal. They are still refugees, still fleeing. Now, imagine you have landed in a country. Next thing, you're going to be sent away to a different country for processing. At what point does your life begin and end? Just think about that. Second issue, in the UK where we are now, a lot of critics have really talked about this issue of sending people to Rwanda, not seeing it as value for money. They're thinking it's force economy. Yeah, it doesn't work. That's what critics are saying on the ground here in the UK. Number two, when you look into the dynamics of who is fleeing, sometimes it's not even the Africans. Before, we had chunks of Afghanistan, talk about now Albania. A third of the current 2022 statistics is over 40,000 people. Only a third of those is from Albania. So why should Africa pick up the pieces?
Okay, before you come in, I'll be sure. But Julius, we've also had many, people, especially from the parts of the world we're from, make these perilous journeys. And unfortunately, a lot of them end up dying. They're looking for a safe place, right? If Rwanda is deemed as safe, then surely there's nothing wrong with them being taken to Rwanda.
No. The journey begins from wherever. As if they make it to the UK, they have survived.
Yes.
They wouldn't die. If they made it to the UK, they wouldn't die. So if Rwanda says, yeah, fine, I'm not opposed to that. But what I'm opposed to is using...
The point I'm making is this. When they get here, we've heard so many horror stories where they're kept is overcapacity. They're kept in inhumane places. So if Rwanda will offer a better life for them, then my point again, surely it's a place to consider.
But when you take into consideration what critics have done, check the economy, check the amount of money, 120 million pounds to be given to Rwanda. Do you know the cost of running these people? Today, in Prime Minister's speech today, Sunak, he talked about how expensive it has been for the government to host refugees in hotels. Talking about in the near future, they are looking for alternatives like student accommodation or whatever, something cheaper than that. You understand? So when you talk about the amount of money spent on refugees, it's huge. When you talk about sending these people to Rwanda and giving Rwanda, 120 million is small change.
Of course.
You understand? And the burden of having to manage this, it's not easy. Look, I come from Kenya. Yeah, early 70s or whatever. The whole country was surrounded by countries at war. In their main time, Ugandans fleeing to Kenya. Talk about Sudan, next door neighbor to Kenya. They split into two countries. Now South Sudan is a country. Yeah. Talk about Ethiopia. They fought. The birth of Eritrea is a country there. Talk about Somalia for over 20 years. No political stability. Every other time, Kenya could 250,000 from one corner, 100,000 from the other corner. And Kenya, for the credit of Kenya, even without support of United Nations, they still managed to keep these refugees. Even today, over 600,000 refugees on one country. What is 40,000? Please, just let me know. What is 40,000 as compared to over 250,000?
You see, there are two things.
Is UK that poor?
You see...
Is Conservative Party that poor?
No, they are not. The whole issue is to discourage the smugglers, because when the smugglers know that they are goods, because they're taking these people as goods. When they know that these goods are not going to station in the UK, they will be transported to another country. It's another way of discouraging this business.
No way.
Traffic. No,
it doesn't.
No, it does.
The moment they boarded the boat, because the traffickers made their money. End of story.
Yes, but since that time, people have been thinking twice now to pay, whether it's worth it to spend 6,000 or 7,000 pounds to give a smuggler only to end in Rwanda. So some are thinking about that. And also about the Albanians. Now the government has taken serious action against them, that they are from a safe country, an European country. So now they are going to make sure they don't allow Albanians anymore here. You understand? But there's one point about this whole immigration issue that I think the British government should be blamed for, the West in particular.
Okay.
They should make sure they solve the problems where these people are coming from. Because most of these people are coming, they're coming from war-torn countries, countries that are not democratic, very corrupt, because like my country, Sierra Leone, is on a time bomb. I'm telling you, the election in June this year, is going to explode because the government is so unpopular. They want to force themselves. They have changed all electoral
So
rules.
let me ask you,
So
how would you feel if, God forbid that happens, but peradventure that happens and people want to come to the UK and they're taken to Rwanda?
yeah, well, it will be very unfortunate if the people are fleeing persecution, then they come and end in another African country or say any other country. You understand? But the point at issue, the government here should make sure they go where the problem is starting to cure this, to prevent the problem rather than curing it. Because right now the UK government, they are there, they know what is happening, but they are pretending as if all is well. But when the problem start right now, because after June, the people will definitely vote out this government. But the government is ready to fight. So
But the UK government are trying to do this, to do something to curtail this issue. They've actually signed an agreement with France to stop these migrants from crossing the English Channel.
I know, but France too, they want this Brexit to fail. That is their mission. Now they want to make sure they allow as much refugees as possible to cross, so that the UK will regret while leaving the EU. It's a very big scam going on. This Brexit remainer is still going on. And so far the remainers they are winning now almost, because when you see people like Boris gone, they have they thinking about Labour, thinking about going back. So it's a very big problem, and that's why the tourists want to make sure they solve this immigration, which I think will be a big problem.
Is that what we're seeing here? The likes of Rishi Sunak, Cyril Braverman playing to the grassroots Brexiteers.
Or the thing is, Brexiteers, right, is still the same key problem. It was driven by racism. It was driven by nationalism that doesn't have any basis. When we look into,
and I voted to be free because I like freedom.
What freedom? Are you free? Let me ask you, this week, Jonas, this week we are seeing German calling on foreigners to go and work in German. See, the thing is, look at what we are going. Have you ever lived in a country where you find doctors going on strike, ambulances going on strike, and you see nurses going on strike, all trains, everybody is going on strike? Why is that? Because number one, we have a problem of labor. There's labor shortage. And that was caused by your favorite Brexit move.
Well, it's not because of that. You see, Brexit came, at the wrong time, I would say, because one, it came just, before COVID, and just, after this Ukraine. So the government policy changed automatically. But even the Prime Minister nearly died. So it came out, it was not properly, it was not correct again, seriously, after that COVID recovery. So it's just like a bad luck for Brexit. If COVID had not come, I'm telling you, this Brexit will have worked. That's my own belief. No, I'm telling you this.
COVID came to remind us we need to stick together.
Well, that's in Europe. It was just bad luck, and the remainers now they are smiling because they are happy. They say when they have won.
COVID came to remind us Brexit was not necessary. We needed to stick together.
Well, no, it's just sad, that we want to go back into the EU to be slaves.
Are you actually? I'll be sure. Are you actually regretting voting for Brexit?
No, I never. No, I have no regret.
It was a wasted vote.
That was a mistake.
Making our I must say it's a mistake. It came the wrong time.
But the thing is,
this COVID.
The reason why we're having this discussion here, because Brexit was heavily driven by anti-immigration.
Exactly.
Right, and this is one of the main policies, and people push for it. We want to make our own laws to control our borders. We've come out of Brexit and we're still unable to control our borders.
Well, that is the whole irony about this whole thing. The EU wants this Brexit to fail, and then they are working very hard. They have really done it. They have done their master. I'm telling you, all what is happening about this party this, that.
No.
All is not telling you.
Come on, man. We saw Boris Johnson dancing, man. It was in the party gate. It's nothing to do with Europe.
Dinner or breakfast they are having. You know, that is his office. That is his home. When people work, you have to have dinner or something. That's the simplest word. But the people change it to party as if
He said sorry, man.
yes, but just how can you work in an office, you sleep there so home, then you don't expect to take your breakfast or dinner or have one or two drinks.
I think one thing we can all
change it to
agree here is Boris Johnson was his own worst enemy. Not necessarily anything somebody planned or planted.
Made a mistake by allowing the brain to go away, Dominic Cummings. That was his first major mistake he made. That was, from that time, I knew that it's going to fail. Because this was the man, it was the foundation of everything. It was the brain in that place. As soon as he left, I said, that's the end of Boris.
Okay, continue watching us and make sure you send in your comments, all right? Let's hear your take on what we're discussing here. You can watch the show live on Facebook, also listen to us live on GN Radio. Let's hear your take. Every time the government comes up with a policy, we too quick to claim that it is a racist policy. But again, I come to you, Julius, and we spoke about this in the past. People would like to say that at the end of the day, it's their country, it's a sovereign nation. It has the rights to protect its borders. Why the big fuss? If it's an agreement between the UK and Rwanda, then so be it. At least they're not being put somewhere there, worse than where they came from.
I call that official line. Official line tends to be very cool and settles matters. But actually, the reality on the ground is not what the official lines say. Because at the end of the day, we are interconnected. At the end of the day, we are living in a global society. At the end of the day, we have United Nations that stipulates how we need to handle these issues.
Okay.
There's legislation that should be taken.
And there is legislation on how I handle issues here, Julius.
Exactly.
Julius and Abisha, thank you very much for coming on the show today. That's the first segment done. We're going for a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk more. We'll be right back.
You're looking for poundo in your crayfish stock, pepper seasoning, or any other ingredients. Tropical Salt has everything you need. Don't depend on young, a strong young man. And hero.
Bobby the real hero.
Tropical Salt flavors of the world to your table.
Leatherback helps you move your money securely from one country to another with ease. With over 20 currencies to choose from, including Indian rupee, Naira, Ghanaian cedi, and US dollar, with Leatherback you can move money anytime, anywhere. Simply sign up, verify your identity, and you're ready to add money to your account. Leatherback is licensed in 4 countries, and with full visibility of your cash flow via our dashboard, you're in control. One access, one platform, one world. Download the Leatherback app.
I am so hungry. If you're looking for pounding in your crayfish stock, all-purpose seasoning or any other ingredient, Tropical Salt has everything you need. And I'm just young, a strong young man. And you.
Mommy the real hero.
Tropical Salt flavors of the world to your table.
Welcome back to the show. If you're watching us, make sure you leave your comments on there and we will read them. And also make sure you say it whilst you're on there. If you like to listen to us on radio, you can do so. It is GN Radio. Go on TuneIn or www.gnradiouk.com. Let's hear your take on this. Now, on to our next topic. 2023 Nigeria's election. The presidential and National Assembly elections will be held 25th of February 2023, while the governorship and state assembly elections shall also be held on the 11th of March 2023. Plenty to discuss. Now, when it comes to Nigeria, Nigeria is such a country that whatever goes on in Nigeria has a significant impact in the region, across the continent of Africa. As I mentioned earlier, we did reach out to the third party, but unfortunately we couldn't get a response from them. So we keep working on it and hopefully we'll get them on subsequent shows. But today, here with us in the studio to discuss the upcoming election, we have Honorable Tunde Doherty, who's the chairman of the APC UK chapter and APC Committee of Diaspora chairman as well. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And also Honorable Tunde, sorry, not Honorable Tunde, Elijah, actually. Honorable Elijah Sambo, who is the chairman for the PDP UK chapter, member of the 2023 PDP Presidential Campaign Council, member of the 2023 PDP PCC Diaspora Campaign Working Committee. Also is here with us. Thank you very much for joining us, Elijah.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
I think what Nigerians will want to know, and also the whole continent, actually, because prior to coming here, prior to doing the show, I spoke to a lot of people. We've seen what's happening on social media as well. Be paying closer attention to what's happening in Nigeria on the ground as well. And you get the sense that people want to know what is on offer this time. Because right now, it's not just about the two main political parties, APC and PDP. We also have the Labour Party, which has gained momentum as well. And I'll come to you first.
Yeah, thank you so very much. We all know what is on offer in Nigeria. Nigeria needs someone that can further improve on what General Muhammadu Buhari has already implanted in Nigeria in terms of infrastructure, in terms of healthcare development, in terms of employment provisions, and in terms of giving life and hope to the trodden. But you see, there's no country, especially in the challenges of the economy of the world these days, there's no country that doesn't have its challenges. As we have the positive, we have the negative. Yes, we know that there are security challenges here and there. There are strikes here and there. All of these things are not their nature because of one. You can look at the war in Ukraine, what it has caused. You can look at COVID, what it has brought to the world in general, and United Kingdom inclusive. So, but in all ramification, the APC had tried to change Nigerian metrics in the last 7 year plus, and to continue. That's where the renewed hope will start, where our incoming president Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu will put skills, will put his real self, his real resources, his real economic expertise, his real energy in terms of putting the right hole in the right peg in the right hole will come into play and change the matrix of Nigeria, create employment, change the lyrics of the technology and invention within Nigeria, improve on the power process, and improve on the infrastructure we have in Nigeria. And if you look at the manifesto of the party, no other party can even beat that, because the manifesto itself is an implementable process, not just a manifesto that is written, but a manifesto that is going to work, that is already set for implementation. Okay. So Nigeria is in for the good times that is here.
So that is for Tinubu, right? Let's hear you as well.
Yeah. In terms of policy documents, the PDP has always been above and ahead of everybody in our country. I have a policy document now that we're working with, and it's called the Article document, with its 5-point goal agenda covering security, education, economy, and all whatnot. You see, and those are documents that have been balanced to reflect the reality as obtainable on ground in Nigeria. During 2019, we had that same document, which was revised to suit the present realities on ground today. In 2019, it was called a working document, getting Nigeria to work again. And this document now is called Recovering Nigeria, as one we can get it done, because what the APC is going to bequeath as a nation is nothing to write home about. Too much hunger in the land, too much, in fact, everything. Well, they took something that was very, very good, and it's just like taking a glass plate and smashing it.
And that's what they've done.
That is what they've done today.
Okay, I just want to bring this here, and I think for one reason or the other, I think it's good that we have the APC representatives and PDP, because the PDP we have since 1999 have been in power for 16 years.
Yeah,
and then the APC have been in power for 8 years. So I think it's only fair to actually have the both of you here. Combined and what we've seen, the manifestos that you're saying, it's not anything new. We've heard it. And initially you mentioned about the impact of COVID, the impact of the war in Ukraine. But when you look at security issues, these were happening prior to COVID, prior to the Ukraine invasion.
Let me now come to what my friend has just said about APC taking Nigeria to this. They were in government for 16 years. This same candidate of theirs was the vice president of that country for 16 years. What happened to the power sector? They crashed the power sector after spending so much billion investment on power. Nothing to show for it. Before APC came into government, Boko Haram existed. Before APC came into government, Chibok girls were snatched. Majority of what is happening today are what the PDP had left Nigeria into, because they have not been sincere to Nigeria. For 16 years, PDP built Niger Bridge, second Niger Bridge, no single tipper load of sand or gravel. Today, that road was open for Christmas for those that are going to the east. Who do you give that to? The rail in Nigeria is working under President Buhari. The air system has changed. The military has been provided with what they require to fight and combat the insurgencies that are coming up. Remember that during their period, there's lots of, you see, because if you see, we are just in government for 7 years plus to curtail and to control the injustices in governance that has lingered for 16 years. And you want to tell me that within the last 16 years, the presidential candidate of PDP was in APC to come and struggle for tickets. When he didn't get the ticket, the man is jumping from here and there. And his benefactor has always been Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So what you want to say, you are saying that you draw infrastructure. But do you know the investment this government has put in infrastructure that is working? You want to tell me about the rail? From Kaduna, from Abuja to Kaduna. You want to tell me about the rail construction that is ongoing around the country? The second Niger Bridge.
Come 25th, okay? Nigerians will make their choice.
Their choice, right?
But let's talk about the insecurity issues.
Yeah.
You've made mention the fact that PDP went in power for 16 years. And of course, I remember Buhari vividly saying that he will resolve this issue. But as things are, in your perspective, do you think he's been able to accomplish it?
He has tried he has tried, and you can see the security infrastructure and architecture of Nigeria, the terrain is very difficult because where you inherit a corrupt security system, it's always very difficult to navigate and say, okay, you want to provide a leverage to curb the insurgencies, to curb the incessant attacks and all of that. Because majority of all of these things are things that had grown wing, you understand, from the government that we inherited it from. And if you look at it, we only see from the surface those things that are happening. We are not talking about the fight against insurgencies that has taken place and the victory of our armed forces against these insurgencies.
Let me get Elijah to come in. Maybe you want to respond to some of the things.
You see, I like my friend. I like my friend very, very well. You see, because what he has been able to tell people here, is that their party has been able to expand the insecurity in Nigeria from just Boko Haram to all the menace that we have today in the country. We don't have only Boko Haram today in the country. We have unknown gunmen. We have Fulani.
You have the bandits.
We have Fulani bandits. We have ESP and Eastern Security Network. We have all over the place. All over the place. How did it come about? Boko Haram was there. There was a conscious effort by the Jonathan administration to flush out these people. These same people in government, then, when they formed their conglomeration of strange bedfellow, just for the quest for power, they made sure that America, NATO, and all whatnot refused to sell Nigeria arms. They needed arms required to fight the insurgency there, Boko Haram. That was when we had a monocausal upheaval of security challenges. But now look at it, it has grown branches. And that is because the sincerity to fight it was not there. What apparatus and what modus did they come into government and met that PDP has put in place to fight security challenges? Because you can't tell me that we were sitting down there doing nothing about the Boko Haram. No, it cannot be true. And it is not true.
All the defense money was shared and was never used.
There was a strategic partnership with South African missionaries, military experts, to circumvent all the borders, border states surrounding Sambisa Forest, from Cameroon all the way around and all the way from the Nigerian axis, and then come and meet in the center. Boko Haram would have been gone. They did it. They came down, and when they came into power in 2015, what did they do? Buhari canceled the contract.
Well,
why? No, hang on. As a general, as an army general, as a retired army general, why should you do that? Why? Is there any seriousness in fighting it? Remember, Boko Haram nominated him as their chief negotiator during when the government were asking them for a talk. They nominated him. And not only that, even before then, what did Buhari say? Buhari said that the government of Goodluck Jonathan were killing his own people. But it was the same Goodluck Jonathan that finalized plans to finish Boko Haram, and they refused. He came in and he cancelled it. Yeah. And the security challenges is where it is today. And then you come on, man.
Okay, let's take a quick listen. I know we went out there to speak to some Nigerians to hear their thoughts on the upcoming election, but for time's sake, we're only going to play a couple of the soundbites that we're able to get. Let's take a quick listen.
Africa as a continent, Nigeria in particular, where I come from, we don't have sincere leaders. They know the right thing to do, but they won't do it because there's nobody's going to touch them. They believe they are untouchable. And 99% of them come to this part of the world, which is Western world. They see what is happening. They come here, they have houses here, they have their families here. They enjoy good life here. And they don't want to give the same to their own people back home. It makes me sad because whenever I go to Nigeria, we're supposed to be better than what we are. In reality, look, we're in Brixton Market now. 90% of the things you see here, you go back to Nigeria, you see them in Nigerian markets. They're all imported. They're not manufactured there. In the 60s and the 70s, 80s, there are manufacturing companies in Apapa Motorway that are going to Apapa Wharf. I've forgotten the name of that particular area. Isolo. You have all different types of manufacturing companies built by Nigerians and by government. But today, they've been leveled up. There's no single factory built by Nigerians anymore. All we do is we rely on the West to give us everything we want. It shouldn't be so. Whoever is coming in, whether it's Tinubu, Abubakar, Obi, James, Andrew, please, trying to improve on what this man has done. Give the people a space, a breathing space. Let them improve on their lives and you support them. In this country, if you are not working, the government will support you until you get back to your feet. But that doesn't happen in Africa, including my country, Nigeria. All we do is we are even more capitalistic than the capitalists.
Talking about lack of industry, they just a lot of graduates there. They have, people coming to England because they can't find themselves work there. After spending so many years in education, at the end of the day, it's nothing there for you. So it's frustrating. It's not what you want really in a system like that. But hopefully, we pray for improvement. Whether that is going to happen in my lifetime is yet to be. With time we tell. But it's a we got problem with that system really, and it's not. It's the country is too big. I think it to be like two countries there, and well, I believe in one Nigeria, but obviously because of religious tension, so many ethnic groups, system of colonization was very poor. It just supposed to be two countries there, and that is why we still have this kind of problem at the moment. Hopefully, the common sense will prevail on the long run. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, it's going to be peaceful because all my family they are there really. We don't want any, but we had enough trouble at the moment. Well, everybody's looking forward to it because it's overdue and the system is, kind of not good for purpose at the moment. We try to see, hopefully it's going to be peaceful election. We don't want, I want people to respect the democratic system, respect the election, whichever way it goes, really. But I can see there will be value. A lot of people, they won't like it because it's not, it's not in their interest to, create trouble because they don't like the election. I hope it's going to be peaceful. Otherwise, we don't want anything like disruption really because it's going to affect a lot of poor people. Innocent people are going to die. We don't want that really. We don't want stuff of a revolution, but we have to take it the way it comes. Really. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, it's going to be peaceful. That's what I'm praying for really. Yeah.
That was the voice of a couple of people that we spoke to. Just for time reasons, we had to really cut it short here. But I just want to come to you on the security issue. Because either Buhari and of course, Tinubu is looking to take over. And people are asking, I mean, he's part of the status quo. What can he do differently to what Buhari did? Under Buhari, his security issues peaked very, very high. And clearly, if he's coming from the same party, what can he do different to what Buhari did?
Let me let you understand the fact that procurement, defense procurement, especially hardware, are not something that you just go into Bristol market or any market to buy. It takes a lot of negotiation, a lot of understanding, a lot of geographical and demographical quantification and analysis before your vendor decide to sell for you. You remember that before President Buhari came to power, all the monies that the PDP government was supposed to expend on defense were shared. 2 weeks ago, somebody was convicted for taking 200 million of that. And that was what happened. So he was saying, my colleague, my friend here is saying that they cancel contract. Contract that were not paid for, contract that somebody picked up the money from central bank and shared to his crony for the purpose of election, and you still want that contract to go ahead. You see, the issue of security is not just one way sorting it out. Number one, you have to find a way to know what actually is happening. You have to have a kind of communication with all of it. Yes. It's not something you are going to solve it. It's not something like you do when PDP was there. They went to a town and decided to turn that town into a dust. The OD when Obasanjo was president. Do you want us to do all of that? But the thing was that you have to negotiate and ask this. A lot of them decide to come out as insurgents and surrender their arm. You understand? And all of these things, there are political intonation into it. There are quite a lot of things into it. But the point is that we are not saying, but I'm telling you, it's already been resolved. And actually, it's already been resolved. My brother, what you are saying is just the negative part of it. You are not saying when
I went to several demonstrations, people being murdered in Benue State.
In Benue, yes, but it's not like before. It's not how many massacre have you recorded towards last year in terms of what happened in Benue?
So
how many? It's gradually being resolved. You understand? So President Tinubu will come in and make sure that all the other will build on the infrastructure, improve military budget, improve military training, engage a lot of, improve the human resources and requirements within the military. And all of these things are going to give Nigeria that peace that it requires.
For time's sake, let me come to you, Elijah, because we've just been told, I think a few hours ago, or was it yesterday, that former President Obasanjo actually endorsed Peter Obi. And Atiku, of course, was not happy with it. How does this make the party, PDP, look?
To be honest with you, Obasanjo's endorsement means nothing. Absolutely nothing. You get worried and carried away for an endorsement that will actually bring you in votes. I can mark my word, Obasanjo will not even win his polling units. Not to talk of his polling unit, he will not win it. Not to talk of his word, his whole word. So if you are endorsing Obi, what difference does it make? It is within his constitutional right to endorse whoever he wants to. Because to be honest with you, that's one statement that talks with not just two sides of his mouth. He talks with the whole semicircle of his mouth all over the place. He knows the truth, and he knows the person that can do the job. But then he is one old man that wants control. If you are not subservient to him, he is not happy about it. But you see, Obi, because Obi is a novice, and even if Obi gets into a power, even if Obi gets, of course, he's not even going to get there. So why am I even saying that? But he thinks that if Obi gets there, Obi will be running to him. But Atiku, who was keeping the presidency even when they were there? Between Obasanjo and Atiku.
Yeah.
Who was keeping it?
And that's the point I make. And vice presidency.
Yeah, but he knows that Atiku will not come running to him. You get what I'm saying? With all the letters, how many letters did he write during Goodluck Jonathan's time? And that was all because Jonathan was not running to him to go and prostrate and bow down in front of him. He becomes a letter writer at his age.
Okay, Elijah, and also Honorable Elijah and Honorable T. Elijah Sambo. Thank you very much for coming in today. This is not the end of it. We will continue. Of course, we'll have subsequent shows, so we'll give you enough platform, enough time to talk about your policies. But unfortunately, we're done for today. Thank you very much for staying tuned. All being well, we'll see you next week. Until then, it's goodbye from us.
I'm not even taking long.
Leatherback helps you move your money securely from one country to another with ease. With over 20 currencies to choose from, including Indian rupee, naira, Ghanaian cedi, and US dollar, with Leatherback you can move money anytime, anywhere. Simply sign up, verify your identity, and you're ready to add money to your account. Leatherback is licensed in 4 countries, and with full visibility of your cash flow via our dashboard, you're in control. One access, one platform, one world. Download the Leatherback app and let the journey begin.
Tell you that I am okay, not in critical condition. You don't know where you heard it from, but it's not there. Is it the truth? Here's the doctor. Thank you.
Boy, mama taught me everything we was love ways, but now I'm boy, mama taught me